Hello and welcome to a complete explanation of the storyline of the Shadowed Throne. If you need to catch up with the story so far, I have two videos you can check out explaining the first two maps in the description and cards of this video. Now, let's get into the story. After the Darkest Shore, our team jumps onto a blimp because there is no other way off the island without getting bombed to death. Once on the blimp, Drosten finds time to try deciphering the zombie languages. He makes little progress using Dr. Straub's notes he stole from Middleburg in the Darkest Shore. With the help of Jefferson, the two are able to make some progress on the language, indicating that the zombies are talking about something much different than anything they understand, including Dr. Straub. While reading through the texts from Middleburg, Drosten notices that Klaus was obsessed with figuring out the lore behind the swords and the power in Middleburg. In his research, he keeps mentioning the Raven Lords, which is an indication of a darker evil controlling the zombies or Geistkraft power. Slowly, Drosten is making the same connections Klaus made by the time we found him in the Final Reich.
Straub, you opened the gates of hell! I've come to bring you through them! Do not follow me! There are other voices in the darkness! I must go to them! Keep fighting! The Emperor must not return!
Those conclusions are: the sword was disassembled for a reason, and that something deeper is happening with the zombies. While Drosten is figuring out these new revelations, Dr. Straub is recording his progress to Berlin. In his recordings, he discusses how he learned from the previous maps. He talks about how the German army was too reliant on Geistkraft alone. Instead, he's now using German engineering and capital with Geistkraft to create the next Reich. In audio recording 36, we hear Dr. Straub discuss how the Führer himself called Straub to save the German army in Berlin because the Russians were about to storm the city. This plays off historical events because a similar message went out to all SS officers and German soldiers to come to Berlin to save the Reich at the end of the Real World War. Instead of executing Operation Sea Lion as discussed in the radios on the Darkest Shore, Dr. Straub pushes his blimps to Berlin. I want to take a second here to applaud the mode's story so far because it continues to play with historically accurate dates and events in ways that encourage fans to learn about history while being entertained by the game itself. The game is choosing to take on alternate history, which holds a lot of promising storytelling options moving forward. Regardless, throughout the maps, we have seen Dr. Straub plunge into greater insanity. He has always had an obsession with pain before the zombies, but these events have allowed him to become an absolute psychopath because he has completely embraced his obsession for pain, resulting in him gaining great power. In the final audio recording from the Shadowed Throne, Dr. Straub describes that he will perform a cleansing of Germany because of the Russians pushing into their land, causing it to become weak or impure. Dr. Straub explains that even the German people will be sacrificed to achieve this new order. In addition, Dr. Straub comments that Hitler has escaped to Berlin by the time his blimps arrive. This is a clear step into alternate history in the zombie storyline. The title of the map is called The Shadowed Throne, which could be interpreted as this army is finally coming out of the shadows of the last two maps to make their mark on history. Once near Berlin, Dr. Straub begins deploying all of their Geistkraft technologies and engineering for his soldiers. Dr. Straub is not working alone controlling this zombie army. It was clear in Middleburg that he had other officers like Richter helping him control the zombies as weapons. Inside the Shadowed Throne, we see perk, armor, and weapon machines scattered throughout the battlefield because they were dropped from the airships above. The German soldiers used these items to push the zombies forward toward the Russian front line. Now, instead of the Battle of Berlin being a brutal and remorseless win for the Russians, it became a setback in our game because our zombies were deployed behind their lines, killing the Russians en masse. In the outro of the Darkest Shore, we see dozens of blimps leaving Helgoland. These blimps are deploying the zombies across the Russian front line just before the start of the Shadowed Throne. We can see that front line of the Russians in the church in the Shadowed Throne as well. The Soviet army is forced to retreat during the counterattack and is in complete disarray due to Straub's zombies. At this point, our heroes are arriving in Berlin. We see the team use one of the zombie deployment pods to travel to the ground. As many have suggested, that fall should have killed them, but both Geistkraft shields and the design of the deployment pods protected them. Similar to how Richthofen describes how our heroes in Origins survived their falls from the Origin robots, the same can be said of these deployment pods. The Geistkraft technology is not a catch-all for explaining everything in our game. We have learned from the creative director of the mode that when we shoot Dr. Straub, he's actually really there in previous maps. He has a specially modified shield to slow down any projectiles, causing bullets to be useless against him. This technology is directly lifted from science fiction books like Dune or The Forever War. It is a common explanation in science fiction novels to have a shield that protects against projectiles, thus allowing the authors to use swords or melee weapons in their stories despite having advanced technologies present. Once on the ground, our heroes find their way out of the sewers of Berlin. They witness the atrocities of the Russian invasion and then the zombie invasion. Just hours ago, the city was full of people, but now is ravaged by the horrors of the war. A theme that can be found inside the mode are the 7 deadly sins as described by the creative head of the game mode. The zombies in the map are created in a way to reflect the actual atrocities that happened during the Battle of Berlin and leading up to it. Fighting through the zombies, our team locates a functioning radio where they contact the Soviets after figuring out their radio coordinates located from an outpost set up in the church. The Soviets are in complete disarray while the zombies are attacking, but one of the soldiers manages to hear our team on the radio. He begs for the Americans to take out the main blimp to allow for their army to regroup and push forward again. Our team then scours the area looking for a way to get the blimp's attention. They shortly find a fallen Soviet soldier next to a box of flares. The team lights up the flares, getting Dr. Straub's attention immediately. Being a psychopath, Dr. Straub is also an egomaniac who is not going to let our heroes interfere with his plans anymore. He stations his blimp above our team to rain down his special infected zombies to kill our heroes once and for all. He laughs in their faces as they attempt to destroy the blimp like they did to Richter in Middleburg. He explains how he learned from Middleburg and perfected the blimp technology. Cursing, our heroes look around the area to scrap up anything they can to fight back. In their efforts to find a weapon, they create the Wonderbus from parts salvaged from the new Sizzler zombies Dr. Straub is creating using his blimp. The team uses the Wonderbus to begin draining the batteries of the anchors deployed from Dr. Straub's blimp. They drop down in order for his blimp to stay above our team. Our team is able to disable 3 out of the 4 anchors, but encounter a problem with the 4th. It crashed inside a courtyard next to the church that seems to be locked behind a door requiring special weapons. It is clear some sort of Geistkraft technology is involved in locking the gate. Our group begins ransacking the area to locate these missing melee weapons when they find a painting that seems to have a map on it. The team takes the painting to the local theater and places it in front of a projector, which reveals locations to clown dolls in the area. Killing the zombies by these clown dolls reveal the combination to a safe our team located earlier in their searches for the melee weapons. Unlocking the safe reveals the first missing melee weapon, the knife. Next, the team notices that near the Wonderbus, there seems to be a note wedged under the cash register. Upon investigation, the note seems to have a radio frequency. Our characters rush the radio to input the coordinates when they hear a smuggler's voice over the radio. Quickly, the team locates the smuggler in the sewers beneath the church. They give him a weapon to defend himself as the zombies are blocking his way back to his hideout near the Wonderbus. As he advances, he gets caught up by a door requiring jolts. Our team again obliges in giving him resources to get him to his hideout. Once he makes it into the hideout, our team uses the secret knock to get in. Instead of the smuggler answering the door, a whistling knocks down the door, attacking our crew. Our characters dispatch of the zombies behind the door, only to find our smuggler murdered. Next to his body lays the second missing melee weapon. While fending off the zombies, one of the team members noticed a sequence of numbers written in blood on the wall by a deceased civilian. Trying their luck with the radio frequencies again, the team tunes into a station in relation to the blood coordinates, which is broadcasting Morse code. The team makes quick work of the code by translating it into numbers. Returning to the church, the team finds the location on the map relating to the coordinates from the Morse code numbers. When placing the magnifying glass on the location on the map, they hear a click. They notice a cabinet is now open, storing a golden scale bowl. The team places the bowl on a scale, missing a bowl, in addition to being connected to a table. While the team is trying to figure out a proper counterweight, a Sizzler zombie is killed in the museum by an armor station. Taking the head from the Sizzler, the team tries to use it as a counterweight, which works and reveals a secret compartment in the desk inside the museum for the final missing melee item. Despite placing the 3 items in the wall, the gate to the courtyard doesn't open. The team, more than likely pissed off at this point, begins killing zombies by the gate, causing Geistkraft energy to jump to the melee weapons on the wall. The courtyard was clearly made using Geistkraft technology to protect what is inside. Once all 3 weapons are filled, the gate flies open for our crew. Inside, the team drains the last anchor, only to have the church door shut behind them. This locks them in the courtyard with a statue of Barbarossa. The zombies begin to pour into the courtyard with no escape in sight for our team. Quickly, the team figures out the statues are not all facing the same way, strangely enough. Shifting the statues around reveals golden crows missing from Barbarossa's statue. After solving all 4 statue puzzles while fending off the zombies, the team places the missing crows on Barbarossa's statue to cause the statue's sword to shatter. It reveals the last hidden piece of the sword. By complete chance, the team located the last piece of Barbarossa's sword. Or was it actually chance? Remember that there are darker forces pushing the zombies to these locations. Dr. Straub has found a way to control the zombies, but even he doesn't understand the depths of his actions. When obtaining the sword, the crew is freed from the church. They notice one of the deployment pods has descended from Dr. Straub's blimp as a result of draining the anchors. The team decides to use this as a chance to end the madness. They enter the deployment pod and use the wonder weapon to power the pod back up to the top of the blimp. The crew arrives in Straub's blimp and is greeted by hordes of zombies. Dr. Straub has barricaded himself inside the laboratory on the blimp in hopes of protecting himself from our heroes. The team slowly figures out how to reroute the electrical power of the blimp to cause the main gates to fall, allowing the team to get at Straub. What the team doesn't realize is by rerouting the power, they cause Straub to lose control of his zombies. Upon reaching Dr. Straub, our characters witness his grisly death when his creations turn on him. They slowly and painfully pull him apart. The team then realizes that killing Dr. Straub did not end the zombies. The team books it for the deployment pod to escape the blimp, only to be greeted by Dr. Straub's latest creature. The team coordinates killing the beast by utilizing the Wonder Bus. After the monster's defeat, the team descends back to Berlin. Once on the ground, the team is quickly surrounded by zombies. Just as they are about to run out of ammo, Redo enters the area to save the team. Quickly, the team piles into his jeep and escapes, becoming overwhelmed by the zombies. Now, it stands to reason that during their time on the blimp, our heroes were radioing in to the Allied forces about Dr. Straub's plans and movements. The Allied forces were trailing behind our characters and had to fight off the zombies to get to our characters in Berlin. Now, where does this leave us? Well, in my opinion, in a beautiful new world of alternate history now that these zombies are on the loose. It seems clear to me that Klaus is still not dead, as hinted by Cameron Dayton. Klaus can be used by the Raven Lords to manipulate Marie into assembling the sword. Marie's mission has always been selfish to start because she was trying to save her brother. Her failure to save her brother in Middleburg can be the perfect emotional weakness for the Raven Lords to manipulate to resurrect Barbarossa. What of Dr. Straub, you may ask? Well, it stands to reason that we may see him return in the form of a zombie in future maps. It would seem that the next map will be Unleashing the True Darkness, and the last DLC will be the climax and resolution of the series. Think of each map as a chapter of a book. And a quick note, it is extremely refreshing to see our antagonist killed off, so we don't have "Your princess is another castle" every single map. For once, our expectations were defied in the predictability of how these maps are evolving. We're not just chasing map to map gathering souls anymore, there's more to do. Circling back to Dr. Straub's comment, mentioned in audio recording 36, we can speculate on where Hitler escapes to too. Many legends and conspiracies cited Hitler's escaping to South America. Drosten even found tools from South America in the Darkest Shore inside the German supplies. Our team could quite possibly travel to South America if the story steers that way, and if the studio continues to play off mysterious or unknown events in history. There is one last hint looking forward in our story. The creator of the mode, Cameron Dayton, mentioned that there is a reason the unlockable characters in the game are named the way they are and have detailed bios explaining their heritage and locations. These characters could be a part of the world's response to fighting the zombies off. Now that they've been unleashed onto the world, the Shadow Throne is a lore-rich map of a well-written, newly expanding universe. In just 3 maps, we have seen our characters go from strangers to acquaintances held at a distance to trusting one another as friends through their traumatic experiences. Without a doubt, we will see more conflict in our characters in the next 2 DLCs, hopefully resulting in a fitting end to our grand conflict. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a rating and tell me in the comments what you think of the zombie storyline. Do you enjoy the story rooted in realism and sci-fi, or do you prefer the fantastical elements of other zombie modes? Make sure to subscribe for all your Call of Duty zombie storyline information, videos, live streams, games, and continued storyline videos for World War II zombies. I'm RadAwesome27. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.